Right friends, welcome back to Learning Space. Before going into the details, let me clarify, we have already completed 40 last minute revision modules. We have already completed 24 cohort sessions as promised, and now we are producing 4 additional modules pertaining to maps. And as far as 2022 Civil Services Preliminary Examination is concerned, I already advised to watch 100 revision modules which we produced during August-September 2021. Out of those 100 revision modules, 10 modules pertain to map-based current affairs. But during the past 7-8 months, several incidents happened. We incorporated several maps as part of current affairs, as part of editorial discussions. Now what we are doing is, we are compiling those maps from current affairs as well as editorials for the past 7-8 months, and we are producing 4 modules briefly. I would like to take around 10 minutes for each module, and I request the students to peruse each and every map for few more seconds. And friends, let us start with this 9 dashed line. Most of you are well aware, and the locations of Paracel Islands, Spratly Islands, Scarborough Shoal, these are important. Quite often in the context of Indo-Pacific, this is into the news. And the definition of Indo-Pacific and free and open Indo-Pacific, we already deliberated. And these are in the news in the context of Pygmy Hog Conservation Program in Assam. Just look at the location of Sonai Rupai Wildlife Sanctuary, Barnadi Wildlife Sanctuary, Orang and Manas National Park. And the matter which is mentioned here has already been covered in various modules. And if you find time, just go through this matter, or otherwise just look at the locations and concentrate on the maps. And this is Northern Triangle, which is quite often in the news. 3 countries, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador. And I request the students to look at the boundaries of these countries. At the same time, which country shares the maritime boundary with which ocean, that is also important. Then this is about Tunisia. Just have a glance at it. On one side Algeria, this is Libya, and just look for the boundaries of Libya. Because Libya is coming in the news because 2 governments, 2 power centers, and this is Egypt, this is Sudan, this is Chad, this is Niger, this is Algeria. Look at the next one. This is Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and look for the location. It starts from Russia, and by passing through Baltic Sea, it enters Germany, and this is in the news for almost 2-3 months. Then look at the next one. Rajaji National Park and Jim Corbett National Park. And Jim Corbett National Park was named after Jim Corbett, and it was in the news because there was some proposal, unofficial proposal, with regard to renaming it as Ramganga National Park. And one important aspect is Ramganga River passes through this Jim Corbett National Park. This is the important point to note. Look at the locations of this Askat Musk Deer Wildlife Sanctuary and Kedarnath Wildlife Sanctuary. We are talking about Uttarakhand, and this is Valley of Flowers National Park. This is Nanda Devi. This is Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve. So these are in the news during the year. Look at this map. Quite often Taiwan is in the news. This is Taiwan Strait. This is East China Sea, and many more details are important here. North Korea, boundaries of North Korea, on one side South Korea. This is China, and it shares a small boundary with Russia. That is the important point. And Mount Harriet National Park. This is in South Andaman. It is in the news because it is renamed as Mount Manipur to recognize the valiant fighters of 1891 Anglo-Manipur War. Right? So 1891 Anglo-Manipur War. Several Manipuris, they were in fact sent here because a cellular jail was not there at that point of time. And Belarus is quite often in the news. Belarus is the friend of Russia and it is also part of CSTO. We already discussed about CSTO countries. Armenia, Belarus, Russia and 3 Central Asia countries. 6 countries are part of CSTO, and have a glance sometime on this map. What are the boundaries of Belarus? Especially most important is boundaries of Ukraine, because Russia-Ukraine conflict is there. In some other map, I would like to show the boundaries of Russia and spend some time on Ukraine boundaries. Of course, long boundary with Russia. Second country is Belarus, and Belarus is a friend of Russia. In fact, Russia's forces are also stationed in Belarus. Then comes Poland, and when crisis is there, people are escaping to this country. Then Slovakia, you may forget about Slovakia, please remember. Then Hungary, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, then of course Moldova. And one important aspect is Bulgaria doesn't share boundary with Ukraine. And Slovakia and Hungary shares boundary with Ukraine. And this Moldova, small country, is tucked between Romania and Ukraine. And just look for the boundaries of Black Sea. This is also important. Black Sea boundaries, one Russia, second Ukraine, and Moldova doesn't share boundary with Black Sea. Romania, third country, and fourth country is Bulgaria. And you may get confused between this Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria. Here, Bulgaria shares boundary with Black Sea, but it doesn't share boundary with Ukraine. Then of course Turkey is the fifth country. Sixth country is Georgia. So the 6 countries share boundary with Black Sea. And this is Kerch Strait, and this is Crimea, this is the Sea of Azov, and Mariupol and some other cities are in the news. And this I have already talked about with regard to Northern Triangle. And just look for these countries once again. And a brief on this particular Emperor of India. This is with regard to some butterfly, and this is in the news, and these wildlife sanctuaries in the news in recent times in this context. This is Tali Valley, this is Kamlang, this is Namdafa. Namdafa is the easternmost, you can say. And the next one is Germany. Look for Germany borders. This is also important because Germany elections were held recently. And these are the group of G20 countries. And how to remember, just have a glance at it. North America, 3 major countries. South America, 2 major countries, Brazil, Argentina. And Saudi Arabia, that is part of G20. Turkey is part of G20. Of course, India. Then of course, South Africa. South Africa is the only African country. And just look for various countries here. This is Russia, China, Japan, South Korea. Then Australia, New Zealand is not part of G20. Indonesia is part of G20. So spend few more seconds on G20 countries. Then this is in the news because China issued standardized names for 15 places in Arunachal Pradesh. Here you see this is McMahon Line, this is Dibang Valley, and this is Tawang. In the context of Tawang, we are seeing Sela Tunnel somewhere here. And this is with regard to line of actual control. In fact, it is neither delineated nor demarcated. This is the important aspect. There is no official map in the public domain that depicts the LAC. In fact, LAC is continuously getting changed. And Ladakh, this shares the longest line of actual control with China. This is the important point. And Pangangso Lake, this is very, very important. And it is a saline lake, but freezes completely in winter. And it is entirely endorheic lake, separate landlocked river basin. This is most important point. And 130 kilometers long, spread across Ladakh and Tibet. Tibet means China. Then you see Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Lithuania shares boundary with this small enclave of Russia, or you can say Kaliningrad, whereas Estonia, Latvia shares directly boundary with Russia's mainland. And Estonia, this is quite often in the news because this particular country is known for cyber security. And just have a glance at it. This is the enclave. This is tucked between Poland on one side, Lithuania on the other side. Look for various tiger reserves of Madhya Pradesh. One point is Pench Tiger Reserve. This is situated in 2 states. One is Madhya Pradesh, other one is Maharashtra. Just look for the locations of these tiger reserves and look at Indonesian new capital, that is Nusantara, and Nusantara is going to be established in Kalimantan area, and that is in Borneo Island. This is the important point. And at present the capital of this Indonesia, which is Jakarta, is densely populated, and key undersea cable got destroyed. In this context, these islands are in the news. Spend some time on these islands and just have a glance at it. This is Iran. Look for Iran borders. This is also important. And this is Afghanistan. This is Pakistan. And if you look at Iran borders, this is Persian Gulf. This is Caspian Sea. It shares boundary with both. And in some other map, we can see clearly. And just have a glance at it. This is the Donbas region. Donbas region and 2 provinces are quite often talked about. And just remember those names. One is Luhansk and other one is some other name is there. And this is the Dnieper river that flows through the capital city. This is important thing. And this is Crimea, annexed by Russia. And look for the names of some other towns in Ukraine which are quite often in the news. This is the capital city, Kyiv. And just look for tiger reserves in northeast. If you look at the tiger reserves, this is Kamlang, Namdafa towards eastern side, and this is Pakke Tiger Reserve. And there are 4 tiger reserves in Assam and 1 tiger reserve Dampa in Mizoram. It has no tigers. That is the important point to note. Friends, recently Solomon Islands is in the news because there is an agreement to establish some facilities by China in the Solomon Islands. So these are all the islands situated in Pacific Ocean, and sometime back we discussed about some Boe Declaration, that is with regard to these Pacific Ocean countries. These are small island states. They are highly vulnerable as far as climate change is concerned. Right, friends? Then the international date line, it cuts somewhere. So look for international date line on which side, which Pacific country is situated. Afghanistan boundaries. Just look at Afghanistan boundaries. India, that shares 106 kilometers boundary with Afghanistan. Then of course Pakistan, and of course Iran, then Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, and the important aspect to note is Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan, they don't share boundary with Afghanistan, and Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, they share boundary with China. That is the important point to note. And just look for the boundaries of Iran. It is quite clear here. And Caspian Sea, this is Persian Gulf, and small enclave of Oman is situated in this tip. That is the important point. So at this tip, there is a small enclave of Oman. So therefore you can say this is situated, this strait is situated between small enclave of Oman and Iran. And just look at Azerbaijan and look at Central Asia. As I have already told you, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, these 3 share boundary with China. And if you look at Afghanistan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, they share boundary with Afghanistan. So you can say Tajikistan is common as far as boundary with China and Afghanistan is concerned. And look at Ethiopia. Ethiopia is in the news due to several reasons. Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Not only that, Tigray region, that is into the civil war. And look for Johnson Line. Look for McMahon Line. Look for the area here, that is Aksai, which is under the occupation of China. This is the Johnson Line. This is the line. Second is McCarthy-McDonald line. Third is line of actual control. This white line is line of actual control, or LAC you can say. And this we have already seen, this McMahon line. And this is the area most important, which is quite often in the news, because these areas, this is Pangongso Lake, this is Hot Springs, this we have already seen Aksai Chin, this is occupied by China, Galwan Valley, then Demchok, Shipkila is situated in Himachal Pradesh. So these locations are also quite often in the news. This is Siachen Glacier, where the demarcation of line of control is not clear. I hope you got clarity about these things. Spend some more seconds on this particular map. This concludes first module, and like this we are producing 4 modules. My humble request is, please spend a few more seconds on these maps. At the same time, whatever modules we produced as part of 2021 revision, especially map based modules, please go through them once again. So please to join for second module. This concludes the first module. Have a nice day. Thank you.